Hey, welcome to Slideshow. I'm Dave Hayward. I'm the founder of Europa Creative Partners and very excited about this week's episode. Well, actually, it's 3 episodes. We have Ed Ortega, who is the founder of Machine Partners, and he is also a lecturer at Section. He's going to be talking about the AI continuum. That's the gap between ChatGPT making its way all the way through to full customized AI. It's a really exciting chat. We actually chatted for over an hour. So what we've done is we've broken it into 3 podcasts, one demo per podcast. The first is about ChatGPT, a non-trivial example of what is possible with that incredible platform. Second is looking at automation. And the third is vibe coding. So I'm going to leave it there. I asked Ed to introduce himself. We're going to jump in there. We'll have a little bit of chat and then very quickly move into demo mode. So enjoy.
I'm Ed Ortega, founded Machine and Partners. We are a service company that's trying to help our clients figure out how to integrate AI in a transformational way for their businesses. So I think we're at the cusp of a huge transformation in how we use technology, and AI is going to drive incredible value, and everyone's trying to figure out how to get that value. And that's what we're all about by looking at the processes that companies use, digging into them, understanding where AI fits in and where it can be like truly transformational, not just like a nice to have or something that, makes things slightly more efficient. We want things to be 5 times, 10 times more efficient. And it's possible, and we've been doing it for some of our clients.
Awesome. Well, that kind of brings us quite nicely to the topic of today, which is that we thought we'd talk about how there's a continuum from the consumer apps, which 2 years ago was just ChatGPT, to what you do. Tell us about what you were thinking regarding the kind of that continuum and how it works.
Yeah, so I teach classes at Section, which is an online school. It's like an AI school for business folks. And like a year and a half ago, I would be teaching a class, a prompting class, and it's really, that's really a ChatGPT class when it comes down to it, right? And students would say, okay, great, I've learned how to prompt, but I have this thing that I want to do. What I want to do is I wanted to like read my emails, and then I wanted to go to a database, and I wanted to find some documents in my drive, and I wanted to, they had all these amazing use cases. And I'd have to say, well, sorry, you're out of luck. Like that ChatGPT doesn't do that. If you wanted to do something like that back then, you would need a coder, and there were amazing tools, and there still are. There's amazing tools for developers, APIs, frameworks, libraries. There's all this stuff that you can use, including tools straight from OpenAI and Anthropic that help you build with the AI models, right? So for a developer, it's great. You can do all kinds of stuff, right? As well as building on top of traditional programming that we've always had. But for a regular person, there was just a giant gap between what they could do with ChatGPT and what they wanted to do or what was actually possible. So over the last year and a half, we've seen that gap starting to get filled in. And now it's pretty filled in. So, on one end, you've got ChatGPT still, and ChatGPT has gotten a lot better. And you've got Claude, and you've got Microsoft Copilot, and so there's like lots of tools that are out there, and those aren't just LLMs. They are full-on applications that allow you to do amazing things, right? Where they stop is they don't really integrate well with your existing systems. They don't with your ecosystem, so they don't integrate that well. So, Microsoft has tried to get Copilot to integrate with the Microsoft suite of tools, and Google has tried to integrate Gemini into its ecosystem so that you can get more power out of the LLM. Now you're starting to see a new class of tools pop up that are these workflow automation tools. So this is Make.com, Relay, N8N, gum loop. I mean, there's a million of them, and every day a new one pops up, and they're at various levels of complexity and sophistication. There's also vertical tools that are for a function. So it might be like a tool for accountants that's AI powered, a tool for writing that's AI powered, a tool for designers that's AI powered. So all these vertical tools that you can buy that help you do this one functional thing, and those tend to glue in or connect to your systems that do whatever that is, right? So you might get an AI tool that does design that hooks into Figma. You might get an AI tool that does finance stuff that hooks into QuickBooks or your financial system, et cetera. And then beyond that, you've got these vibe coding tools where you can kind of build anything by just talking to an AI system that knows how to write code. And then beyond that, you've got custom development. So the gap has gotten filled in with all of these tools. And I thought it would be fun to go through and just like look at some of these tools to give everyone a feel and an understanding of what they're capable of. And, maybe sort of see like, oh, I could probably do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, before we do that, do you want to just maybe explain to people what vibe coding is? Because obviously it's around at the moment. So it's got to be the word, the zeitgeist of the moment.
Yeah, sure. So vibe coding is a term to describe how developers are building applications today. And it's kind of a cute word, but essentially it means typing into an LLM and having the LLM write the code. So, before you had the LLMs, a developer had to write every single line of code themselves, typing into a typewriter. Um, Even to me, this now seems very archaic,
Yeah.
even after just like 6 months of using these things. But now, essentially, most of the code, and I know most of the code, almost all the code that we write at my company, is actually written by an AI, and it's the developer who's overseeing the writing of the code by telling the AI essentially what he or she wants to write. And there's an art to this, right? So a lot of times the reason we call it vibe coding is you just have kind of a vibe for what you want to write, and then you type it in, and amazingly the AI is able to sort of deliver. And then you sort of look at the code that it wrote, and you might make some changes, here and there, but basically, you have to learn how to sort of decompose the problem to the right size for the AI to build it. But I'll show you later how this works. Like we'll actually demonstrate like vibe coding, so you can kind of see what's going on.
Right. Oh, cool. All right. Well, maybe it's a good time to jump into our first demo.
Now with ChatGPT, we have all these models, right? We have 4.0. There's some new models that are coming out, 4.1, that we should have access to pretty soon. We've got O3, which is a reasoning model. The different models have different capabilities. OpenAI is trying to get rid of all this complexity and make it chooses a model dynamically, but for now we have to choose a model. So 4.0 is really great because it's very capable and it can do all kinds of different things. It can create images, it can do data analysis, and so and it can search the web. So I thought it might be cool to just show like a non-trivial example of what is possible. And I have a question. Does the U.S. government actually own property? It turns out we do own property, federal land, buildings and facilities, post offices, national parks, and it goes on and on. Okay. So I want to know, is there like a CSV or a data file of all the property owned by the US?
What's
Oh my
amazing
gosh.
about this is we've just got used to this, but this was unimaginable sort of 2 years ago, at least for the public anyway.
Yeah. And so I don't know if you noticed, but while I did that search, there was a little bubble that came up here and it said searching the web. So this is an amazing feature because I'm asking a question, it's going out and searching the web to answer my question, and it's come back very quickly with a search that says, yes, there are some data sets of these, of all the data that the government owns. Okay, so let's see. Inventory of GSA owned properties, monthly lease inventory reports, how to access this stuff, data.gov, and it shows me some links where I can go and find these things. Okay. So,
And this
and it
this
gives me
is
all its sources.
and this due diligence part is part because uh, AI is non-deterministic. It does what we call hallucinate, where it'll make stuff up. So checking that kind of due diligence afterwards is kind of really vital to especially for something like this, right?
Yep, totally. Okay, so let's see. I just want like a CSV here. So they have some. I'm wondering what do these things do? These are just pictures that it found. That's kind of interesting. Um, okay, so I'm gonna download. I'm gonna see if I can find a link where I can actually. It's interesting that it's not synthesizing it for me. I've got a pretty simple request here, but it's not really synthesizing. But maybe it'll come back with one. Okay, here we go. Where to get the data? Great. This looks good. Okay, so I want this. You can download at the website. Okay, here we go. All right. All right. I just downloaded it. So now I'm going to
Sweet.
go back. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. I'm going to start a new conversation. I'm going to upload that file that I just downloaded. So I want to analyze this data about properties owned by the U.S. government. So the great thing is that it gives me this preview. So ChatGPT is not an LLM itself is not good at analyzing data because it's a text-based system, right? It's really about language, but it's good at analyzing things. So when it pulls up a file like this, it can look at the language inside the file and it can start to glean information from it. And when I do data analysis with ChatGPT, what's happening is ChatGPT is interpreting what I want. It's converting that into Python code, and it's running the code on the data set to achieve whatever I'm asking it to do. Because it knows that the LLM is actually not very good at analyzing data, but Python is really good at analyzing data if you write the right code in Python. So because ChatGPT is good at writing code and it's good at understanding what I want, that's what it does. And that's actually part of the application. It's not built into the LLM itself, you see. So this is actually a very capable tool that's built on top of the LLMs by integrating other functionality in a novel way that's only possible because of the LLM. So it's kind of mind-blowing, like what's going on here.
Yeah, it's a real trip, isn't it? I mean, like I said, it's absolutely incredible that this is at our fingertips right now.
We really even still haven't got a handle on just how much we can do with this technology. We're like right at the beginning. So companies like mine are exploring mostly like what can we do with this? Like let's look at all these workflows and see what we can do. But some of that functionality has been built into ChatGPT. So just pulling in the data file and asking and saying, hey, I want to do some analysis, then ChatGPT looks at the file and it says, okay, this data set contains proper information on 8,600 properties owned or leased by the government. Great. Location, ownership status, size. So what kind of analysis or insights are you looking to extract from this data, right? So if I'm a data analyst, which I'm not, I can use this tool to really accelerate how I might normally analyze this data because I would probably have to get it into some format. I'd have to put it into a programming environment. I'd have to start writing code to analyze it in R or Python or whatever. But I'm just a Joe Schmo. I don't really know how to do great data analysis. If I have this data set, I'm kind of interested in it. And so I might start asking like, well, what do you think would be would be some interesting insights I could get from this data set? So now I'm putting it on the AI to help me, you know, even get some value out of this. And it says, great question, because the AI ChatGPT is like suddenly very sycophantic, as
Yeah,
many
is
people have
it?
noticed.
What is that? I've read that recently. And all the newsletters seem to be talking about it. What is going on? Have they changed the model? Because it seems to be like a real suck up net these days.
It's kind of a long story, but there's a lot of human training that goes on with the model to make it so that it is appealing to users. Or OpenAI created 4.5 as like a test model, really big test, and they did a lot of tweaking in 4.5 to make it more personable. I think as a reaction to Claude, because people generally like Claude, and
Yeah,
it's kind of vibe better than they like ChatGPT, which comes off as kind of dry. So then they integrated what they learned in 4.5 into 4.0, the latest version of 4.0, but they went too far. And even Sam Altman put out a tweet the other day that was like, "Oh, sorry, we went too far. It sucks now. It's really annoying how it is. We're gonna like reverse engineer, or we're gonna fix it. Don't worry." Yeah, so I think they're just constantly tweaking like how the thing behaves. This is very difficult, right? Because it's very subtle. There's no right or wrong here. It's just a question of like, what feels good, and that can be very difficult to dial in. Looking at the results of what ChatGPT has told me, like, hey, what's interesting in this data? Okay, ownership trends, geographic distribution, space utilization, construction and age, political angle. Oh, that's interesting. By congressional district, that's interesting. Property types. So it's basically saying, based on the data set you provided, there is information about the congressional districts. By grouping on congressional district and counting the number of properties, we can do it. So would you like to do it? And I said yes. Okay, now this is funny. Now we're seeing two responses, and it's asking like, which one of these do you prefer? The congressional district with the most U.S. government properties is District 1198, which has 283 properties listed. I'm going to guess that's Washington, D.C., but
yeah.
so and it goes on and on like I could just investigate this data set for as long as I want to. I could merge this with other data sets. I could ask it to go retrieve things. So obviously ChatGPT is very, very powerful. I'm only showing like one instance of this. I could say create a chart. I guess I have to say this. Create a chart that shows number of properties by district. So when it says analyzing, what it's doing, here's the part where it's writing Python code, and it's asking it to sort of generate a Python plot. So here's the plot of all the congressional districts and all of the information they have on it. So very powerful tool, ChatGPT, right? And I think this is what has captured everyone's imagination. You can do so much just with ChatGPT. You don't need to be a super expert in anything. It'll even teach you how to prompt. It'll teach you how to use it. Very incredible. And I'm saying ChatGPT, but I also mean Claude and Gemini. They're all very, very capable at things like this. So the gap, in a way, has actually been partially filled by the tools themselves because they have gotten much more capable over time.
And that's it. That's the end of episode 1 of our 3-part podcast episodes. So it's actually technically episode 3 of Slideshow. Big thank you to Ed for his contribution, of course. Amazing. And big thank you to the Europa Creative Partners team. If you could like and subscribe, that would be fantastic. And stay tuned for the next episode.